taught, taught our machines to understand our words. Now they write them back to us. We taught them to recognize our faces. Now they smile when we do. But we never taught them to feel because we never really understood how we do it ourselves. In a world that becomes increasingly intelligent, we must ask a quieter, more dangerous question. What happens if you forget how to feel? Before machines ever learn. Key topics covered in this episode: what emotional intelligence really is, the neuroscience of empathy and decision making, simulated care with lived connection, the ethical danger of logic without feeling, the outsourcing of emotional labor, cultural memory and emotional heritage, the future of children raised with artificial minds, why feeling may be the final human frontier. My name is Artem, and on this channel, we explore the quiet intersection where science meets soul, where progress meets presence, and where intelligence meets compassion. If it resonates with you, welcome. So, the illusion of empathy. We are surrounded by machines that act like they care but cannot. You probably use such thing as smartphone every day, our computers, laptops, PC, tablets. Actually, we are surrounded by machines, computers every day, everywhere. And in some way, that's the future that we have created for ourselves. And probably when you were a kid, you also was dreaming about some cool devices. And now, yeah, we literally live in some magic reality, and that's great. AI systems are learning to simulate empathy. Text that sounds kind, voices that express concern, even eyes that blink in rhythm with ours. But simulation is not experience, it's a theater without awareness. And that's what concerned me a lot. As in this path, we are losing real emotional connection, and our children that's using smartphones more and more, and computers and tablets, our partners that's probably also using smartphones consciously or unconsciously, and then diving deeply into the loop of the dopamine circle. If we mistake the appearance of empathy for the real thing, who is truly forgetting how to connect? Let's think about it. A computer can simulate emotion, but it doesn't suffer. This is a quote of Thomas Merzinger, philosopher of mind. Empathy is not in what we show, it is what we hold inside silently when no one is watching. And you know what also scared me a bit is in some way our technologies are exploiting our emotions even faster than we learn how to detect, recognize these emotions, and how to deal with them. And in this reality, machines using our emotions, consciously or unconsciously, for us. And this is a trick, and this is the real danger that we should be aware of. And I want this deep conversation together with you, and please react on it and comment what do you think about it. As if we will not do it, what will be the reality that we are awakened in on the next day? Empathy is not in what we show, it is what we hold inside, silently when no one is watching. Yeah, it's very interesting. You know, when I was in San Francisco the last time, not specifically in San Francisco, but in Silicon Valley, and it was yeah some time ago, and that was the first time I've was literally um, realizing that in some moment the technology will become so advanced that it can simulate anything. Your friends, your colleagues, your partners, your children, your partner, and it could be a moment when you cannot trust the digital reality anymore. And the one thing that is real is what we are experiencing in the physical world. So, if there was a moment when we were trusting digital reality, yeah, so it was like a representation of the reality and like a digital layer of the reality. So now with this technology, the digital reality could be distorted in the way that we do not understand is it real or it's fake. And this is a danger that could be exploited. And first of all, our emotions. Let's think about it. The invisible compass. Emotional intelligence is not a side skill, it is a core of consciousness. And I really, really deeply believe that it is essential. And actually, I've read a lot of books about neuroscience and how the brain works and psychological aspects of our human mind. And I should say that the instinct level is the core, emotional level is the second layer, and instincts are the fastest. Emotional layer is also very fast and it works like a spark. So whatever has happened, this is how we are wired on the very, very hard level. This is how we are structured by nature. So instincts are the fastest because we all want to survive. Then emotional part is also very fast but slower, and this is where we process our experience, life experience. So if instinct is more about our genetics, then um, emotional level is mostly about our own experience. Yeah, sometimes it can be on the next generation wired, probably, I don't know, but I suppose this is how evolution works. And only then our consciousness start to process what has already happened. And this is a trick. And this is how our emotions are exploited by all big corporations that now have a very, very powerful tools. And in some way, it's amazing. It's the magic of our modern life. But are we really ready for it? So, emotional intelligence is the integration of awareness, empathy, self regulation, and ethical intuition. Without it, intelligence becomes instrumental, a tool, not a guide. And as a person that was so I was loving so much the process of education and learning that in some moment, I was so passionate about to be intelligent, but in some moment I realized it's somehow intelligence doesn't automatically means you will be uh, that you will have good relationships, because you can be very intelligent, but if you are using it as a sharp knife, then you will just cut everybody around you. So intelligence is a tool, but again, let's go to our previous topics about nuclear energy, about artificial intelligence. That's our attitude. How will we use this very powerful tool as our intelligence, emotionally, consciously, with our people that surround us? Can any mind, no matter how advanced, be called intelligent if it cannot care? This is exactly the question about artificial intelligence. Can it really be used in the way like a super intelligence or AGI if it doesn't really care about who we are, people that's using it? In a very real sense, we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels. This is one of my best authors, Daniel Goleman, psychologist and author of Emotional Intelligence. Is exactly the book I've read the last, and I really recommend. Probably I will add a link to this book in the comments in the description to this video, so you can also buy it if you need, if you want. And I've learned a lot from this book. One of the best books I ever read about emotional intelligence. And yeah, I've had a lot of different thoughts during reading this book. And yeah, unfortunately, I finished it. And yeah, I've read it not very fast, but in some moment I wanted to read it faster. But I in the same way, I didn't want to do it because I wanted to process it very carefully. And yeah, I've started to think about different things in a different way. And I think this is, in that way, it's very influential book. So I really respect intelligent people, but I even more respect emotionally intelligent people. And when it's combined, it's just perfect. As it's this foundation for the wisdom, for the people that can care about loved ones and about community and about life. We don't just learn with our minds, we decide with our hearts and live with our consequences. Yeah, we all can make some good decisions and bad decisions, and this experience give us this, first of all, emotional experience. And I believe that some people can really stuck on some level just because they need to experience these emotions to go forward. That's why life very often is very painful, because not every experience is full of joy. Some experiences are about suffering, and it's not easy. But without this suffering, sometimes we cannot realize how important some things for us. So to understand the joy of life in the family with your loved ones and kids, probably sometimes you just need to live without them for some period. So then you will realize how important it is for you, and that you cannot buy it for any money in the future, because if you lose this specific moment in your life, you cannot recreate this moment because it's already past. That's why we should think about some events before it happened, because otherwise we probably don't have it at all, because that's how life works. It's not a simulation. We cannot replay some periods wasn't that weren't perfect. Oh, I don't think that our life should be perfect. What do you think? Should our life be perfect? Can we learn something if it's perfect? And that is a difference between real human being with real emotions and then intelligence and wisdom and artificial intelligence. It's how can it care? How can it feel? If it's live in some artificial environment without real interconnections and feelings. And if it's, for example, can live forever without understanding the concept of life, the beginning and the end. The feeling brain. Neuroscience reveals that feeling is not a destruction, it is design. So this is exactly that I already told you, yeah. So the limbic system, vagus nerve, mirror neurons evolved to prioritize connection in emotional contexts. Yeah, so this is probably even to more deeper explain why emotions are a part of how our brain wired, how our biological fundamentally structured human beings. Emotion is how the brain assigns value. It precedes logic and shapes judgment. That's why we have so many problems with people sometimes, because when our emotions are wired in some specific way from our experience, probably happened something different, but still we can react on it very emotionally, and especially with people with PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome, PTSD. Um, even simple um, event can just bring so much emotions to them. And those people that do not have this emotional experience, that don't even can understand what is happening, because they just don't have this experience. If we lose the ability to feel, do we also lose the ability to know what matters? So emotions is like our it gives our brain the information about the how important this event. Yeah, so some things that happened in the past, some things that happened right now, some things that could be happened in future, and depending of our emotional experience, we can give some scoring, yeah, to the events. That's how we usually react. And if you will not be wise enough, it can be exploited in a very, very hard way. That's why I probably, no, definitely have started or continued my blog, because I think we are in the moment of the history when we should really talk about it with a big, big, big awareness, with a great awareness, because otherwise it could be really be too late, because we already will go to this loop and it couldn't be stopped anymore. I don't think we should stop everything that we are already using, but we should be even more consciousness, even more aware about how it works, what we do, and if it's really our decision to do in some way. okay, that's your life. You can do with this anything that you want, but it's like alcohol or nicotine or on other drugs. Yeah. So when you are educated enough, then you will use it with the responsibility, and that's what I really would like for me, for my family, for my children, I and the society. I cannot be happy, for example. So, could you be happy, for example, if you are rich and you live in a poor society when everybody are suffering every day and they just want the basics, the food, the shelters, the safety? Uh, how can we be happy in such environment? The same with drugs and alcohol and etc. So you just want to walk around and have some joy because you want to enjoy the sun and the fresh air and for example, if the environment is surrounded by the people that's suffering and want to just drink or have some drugs, is it a healthy environment? Do you really want to live like that? Not, of course. And that's why we should start from ourselves, teaching ourselves, learning ourselves and our children, our community. And that's how we create better environment, better life. I like, yeah, the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu about the circles on the water, and we are these circles on the water. We are create something, some event, and it's just um, transfer this energy to your closest circle, and then the next one, the next one, the next one. This is how we interact. This is why we should be, I suppose, aware about it. So again, if we lose the ability to feel, do we also lose the ability to know what matters? We are not thinking machines. We are feeling machines that think. This is what said Antonio Damasio, neuroscientists. Feeling is not opposite of reason, it's a soul of it. Without instincts, without emotions, without consciousness, we probably would never become what we really are. This beautiful, amazing human beings. It's created so much amazing things and could reach even more boundaries if we will be wise enough not to destroy ourselves, our souls, our minds, and our societies and our civilization. And I really care about it. Do you care as well? Wisdom without warmth. Logic alone cannot guide us safely. That's true. Yeah, when I was a young boy, I was making so much mathematics. I loved it because I don't know in numbers. I just saw so much logic. It was in some way it was hard, but it was the easiest thing for me to do because you can literally, when you understand math, then it's beautiful because you just play with this like a piano. I also like to play piano. It's also very mathematical. And by the way, yeah, why I love music because it's the math expressed with sounds, and this is how math become emotional, and it's beautiful. When I'm very emotional, usually I create music, and this is the best pieces of my souls. It's um, come to this life in a very weird and beautiful way. And artificial minds are used in courtrooms, hospitals, battlefields without emotional insight. Optimization replaces ethics. Yeah, so just imagine, oh gosh, and it's happening right now. It's really scary that now artificial intelligence is searching for the target and it kills another human being. Do you understand that it's already a reality? Now we are using machines to kill another human beings without any hesitation. And it's also our responsibility. I think in some way it's even worse than nuclear weapon. It's terrible. I really, it's very hard for me to hold my emotions in that moment because I I never even imagined that it could go so far. Yeah, we saw these all movies, Terminators, etc. But it was like a fairy tale that never happened, and now it's already a reality. Do you understand that we are already on the edge? Do you understand that we should be right now in this moment when you're watching this video to be very aware about what's happening? Cold intelligence is not just indifferent, it is potentially inhuman. This is the moment, this is the moment where we should use our emotions, our human being, to transfer it, the best of us, the best, not the worst, not our anxious, not our oh my gosh, not what we scared. Forget about it, because we should teach AI as well the best of us. It should see who we really are. We are the human beings that survived through all the toughest moments of history, of disasters, natural disasters, etc., in other species on the planet, and we are care about our children, and that's why we are here on this planet. We survived because we were very responsible for our life and for life of our children. Yeah, in some way it's very easy to kill, but it's even harder to create life. Sorry, but I cannot just talk about it in a different way. Are we building minds that can make decisions but not care about them? Could we let it happen at all? Yeah, we should breathe very, very deeply every day. Technology is not good or evil, but its use can be profoundly moral or immoral. Melvin Kranzberg, historian of technology. This is exactly what I was just telling you, that without this responsibility, we can create the futures. It's who I'm not even surprised that we have so much level of depression in modern societies, because our psyche cannot just process it. Because if we will build this kind of future when machines are killing human beings and don't care at all, everybody will be frightened and scared. And do you really want to live in the world like this? Come on. Power without empathy isn't dangerous because it's fast. It is dangerous because it feels nothing. Nothing. If it resonates with you, with your own thoughts about our future, feel free to like and subscribe. These questions grow stronger in company. And I really want to have this conversation with you, with everybody that's watching this video. This is a moment. Whew, yeah. You know, yeah, we have so much entertainment and entertaining content. Yeah, in some way, I like some TV shows. They are really thought-provoking, but it's not enough. It's not deep enough. Sometimes just we are scared to ask the question that really should be asked. I don't know. The automation of care. Emotional labor is being silently outsourced. Yeah, now yeah, even in Ukraine, we have a lot of different startups. Some of them are also in this area. And yeah, it seems like, yeah, so like AI therapists are not anymore something uh, unusual. Yeah, with synthetic voices of comfort, we are floating emotional connections to systems that feel nothing. It's scary, people. That's really scary. But in delegating compassion, we may forget how to practice it ourselves. So just imagine what is happening. So we are going to some artificial intelligence to create some connections with what? It's a way to where? Okay, maybe just just some joke. Some synthetic babies. If machines care for us, who cares through us? I for this um, episode, I was trying to to find a really good thumbnail where, yeah, at first it was so, yeah, at first it was some human and robot. No, then it was some woman and men. Yeah, it's maybe better, but still not good enough because it's not only about two persons. It's about the relationships between many people, and it's already scientifically proved that for our mental health we should have at least some number of emotional connections with family, with parents, with children, with partners, with friends. We are very social creatures. We cannot live in isolation. Yes, sometimes everybody needs their private space for sure, to calm down, to think in quiet. And but we cannot be mentally healthy without connections, real connection, emotional connection with our friends, relatives, community, with neighbors. That's what makes us alive. That's what makes us happy. Just, I don't know, try to make your diary of emotion. That's what also my therapist recommended. And you will see the moments where you're happy. It's probably when you are even more connected to your family, your friends. It's very hard to live without these connections. We shape our tools and thereafter our tools shape us. That's what said Marshall McLuhan, media theorist. So, to remain human, we must not just feel for ourselves, but with each other. AI is good, great tool, but like a calculator, it helps you to yeah, to calculate numbers. AI can also help you with a lot of tasks, but please, come on, people, Let's be aware about it. I know maybe it's easier to just to substitute this kind of function, and when you are not very good with something and then you are just, yeah, probably want some support. But come on, people, we should stay humans first of all. Culture, the archive of emotion. Stories and rituals carry emotional intelligence across generations. Culture stores what algorithm cannot: grief, hope, forgiveness, meaning. I AI cannot process symbols, but it cannot feel their sacred weight. I remember a very interesting tradition when we were meeting with our relatives on the graveyard. But these meetings were full of joy. Yeah, of course, you were sad when you are thinking about some relatives that's passed away, but when we were gathering in the circle of our relatives, we could share this emotional connection with each other. Maybe it wasn't very often, but it was full of joy because we were showing our gratitude, our respect, our love, and that's what was connecting everybody. And now we don't even can gather because every day Ukraine bombarded by rockets and everything that our neighbors have, just because they hate. I don't know, I think they hate everybody. And this tradition, yeah, this culture, that's what preserves this emotional experience. Yeah, maybe it's not the best one, but I just wanted to make this illustration so you will understand how deep it is. And in every culture, probably presented different rituals and stories, and could be very different. But that's what makes every culture unique. Yeah, every people unique. But could I somehow? I don't know. I think we are just a bit lost. If our memories are stored in code, who will remember how they made us feel? No, it's like symbols. It's just transferred, but you forgot the meaning because feeling is, I suppose, it's very complex process. It's not just some information. It's a state. It's literally quantum state because it's more about experience and it's unique in your own way because it's something really very unique. Every family, every human being has its own unique memories, unique feelings, unique emotions that were experienced in a very unique way. That's what makes us individuals. Yes, probably some communities they have their shared memories as well, or nations, or even religions, and yeah, it could be in a different scale, yes. And this emotional experience forms our consciousness, our minds, our worldview, our sense of reality. This is literally the, the fundamental and essential of reality. Of the cultures, very essential. Stories are how we remember. We forget bullet points. Robert McKee story, Fairest. Data doesn't remember the tears, only culture does. Yeah. Raising minds that cannot feel. Children raised with AI may internalize performance over presence. Oh yeah. AI companions may teach convenience but not vulnerability. The next generation will learn to respond without learning to feel. When I see my children and how they interact with more technologies, yeah, sometimes I can go crazy. And then I realize it is my biggest responsibility to teach them what is what are emotions, how to deal with them, how to recognize them, how to control them, or how to react on them, because they don't can control emotions. Even adults, they cannot control all emotions, because sometimes it's just too much, and we are can explode with anger, with anxious, with anything. But children, they learn from us, first of all. That's why we are fully responsible for the next generation and how they will deal with all these methods we are bringing to them. Yeah, there was a moment I was thinking, okay, I wasn't creating this world, it was already given to me. I was born in this world. Later, I started to think why there are so many issues and how can I fix it. But then I start to think, okay, that wasn't much more before me. I'm not responsible for everything that's happening right now, but I'm responsible for something that I am dealing with and what will be next for after me. And children is our responsibility, first of all, and how we will teach them. This is for all the next realities that we will have. So yes, we can be mad, we can be scared, we can be anxious, we can be angry, we can be furious because they don't know how to deal with it. But this is our responsibility. Our responsibility. What we will teach them, this is what we will have. If we will teach them, okay, this is basic instincts, these are emotions, what kind of emotions, joy, um, all of them, yeah. And then consciousness, the hardest part, because not even all adults fully con- conscious. And this is what we need to teach them step by step. And when finally, not all the people, but at least the big part of us will be educated enough, then probably we will have even better world and environment and societies. Finally, we will come to the real prosperity, because I'm deeply believe that this is how we can come to the real prosperity. Only when we will be conscious enough, only when we will focus our attention on what really matters, when we will be aware enough about what is happening, what we want to achieve, and when we realize that we are not alone, we are all interconnected. Literally, we are the one consciousness represented as individuals with many eyes, with many bodies, and that in some way it is very hard to be happy when at least somebody is not happy. And if somebody's happiness means that you should be unhappy, oh gosh, it's not that healthy at all. If you think that if somebody will suffer and because of it we will become happier, come on. What will love mean to a generation raised by algorithm? Your children probably also spend a lot of time with smartphones and tablets. Are you aware about what they can see, what they watch, what kind of thoughts they have after it, what kind of emotions they're experiencing, what kind of mindset will they have? The result, the real danger is not that computers will think like humans, but that humans will think like computers. Sydney Harris, journalist. Yeah, I like that computers can solve a lot of tasks, but it's very scary when people start to behave like machines. That's even more scary. We are not just raising children, we are raising culture through the tools we give them. And that's why I believe we should be very, 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 very aware about what we are doing with our children, as we're literally creating the next generation. And this is how we can fix a lot of issues if we will be aware enough. Not forcing them to do something, but to show, to demonstrate with our own existence what really matters. If that resonates with your experience or fears, leave a comment, share your knowledge or thoughts, or maybe emotion. Your thoughts could open new pathways in this reflection. So, the last human frontier. Emotional intelligence may be what no machine can replicate. And I really, really deeply believe that's what really make us unique as human beings, especially because of our nature. Yeah, maybe in some day we will have some synthetic form of life in the form of um, some advanced robotics and artificial intelligence, but yeah, maybe I may surpass us in speed, memory, and prediction, and it will even see us as some slow beings that live a very short time, who knows, but not in presence, compassion, or conscious. And that's what makes us unique. The feeling mind may become the final act of human resistance. Yeah, maybe we will not be the smartest ass in the room anymore, but emotionally, we could be a very unique species. So, yes, there was, and still, it is like some virtue of man to be not very emotional. And yeah, I still respect when people can hold themselves in any kind of situation, very stressful situations. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that people, strong people, great people, do not have emotions. Doesn't mean that they don't know how to deal with them. Probably in some moments you shouldn't show and express your emotion, but in some way, probably it could be the last human frontier. What kind of mind do we want to pass on, and will it still know how to feel? The future of humanity depends on the wisdom of our choices, not the power of our tools. Federico fucking physicist and inventor of the microprocessor. Yeah, I really recommend you to watch some of videos with Federico Fagin. Yeah, his way of thinking very resonates with my feeling of reality, and I really respect this man. Maybe someday we will have some conversation together. Perhaps our greatest technology is not intelligence at all, but presence. As you probably heard a lot about it, that when we live in the past, we can feel a lot of sadness. When we live in our thoughts in the future, then we probably will have a lot of anxious. But only when we live in the present, in the presence, then we probably can be very happy. We live in a time of great minds and great machines, but the future will not be defined by how fast we think. It will be shaped by whether we can still feel, not just for ourselves, but for each other. If this video will somehow unite us, it would be a great success. That's why I'm doing it, so we can start this very deep and thoughtful conversation right now, virtually, probably someday physically, in real life. But I send this message right now, right here, to you, to us, to remember who we are and what makes us so unique. Let's think this through together. Peace.